Tonight's round 14 matches between the Gold Coast Seagulls and the Western Reds.
Hello and welcome to Seagulls Stadium and our coverage of the match between the Gold Coast and the Western Reds. Well, the Gulls last weekend, they were victors on the road. They beat Souths 22 points to 2, and the Reds surprisingly pushed Manly and went down in the end in a high-scoring match to the Seagulls. Joining us in the commentary position is Gary Belcher. Gary, not quite as cold as Bruce Stadium last night for the Raiders, but still two teams on show tonight, and the Seagulls, they've got a chance to make it a double.
Yes, they have for the first time in a long time. 2 wins in a row for the Seagulls if they get up tonight. Of course, they beat South last weekend, as you said. I'd like to see the Seagulls get up, but they're going to have to improve and play 80 minutes of football. They tend to play 40 or 50 minutes and then fall in a bit of a hole.
All right, class players on both sides. Who are the danger men?
Andrew Duneman for the Gold Coast, I think at 5'8", is important. If he plays well, they can win. Craig Coleman and he have got a very good combination together. He sets up his outside backs well. He's got a good kicking game, a good long passing game, and he can read the play very well. So I think he's important. For the Reds, important at hooker for the Gulls to contain Matthew Fuller. He's scored 8 tries this season. He's the leading try scorer for the club. He's surrounded by a monster forward pack. And yeah, they're very dangerous in the forwards. And out wide, of course, in the centres, Barry John Mather, a Pommy back, and Craig Innes, former Kiwi rugby union player, formed a very good partnership.
Well, 4 of the 5 wins for the Western Reds have come at home at the Wacker. So do you think they struggle a bit on the road?
Well, they do, obviously, but they've already won 1 away this year against Cronulla and took it to Manly last week. So they are a chance tonight if they put it together, but I'm still tipping the Gulls. I've got them in my tipping contest, and, of course, they're Queenslanders.
Oh, that's fair enough. I'll stick with you as well. All right, time now to join our commentator in David Morrow.
And so here come the Gold Coast Seagulls out onto the field, led out by the captain, Craig Coleman. Following that marvellous performance against South Sydney last week, looking for back-to-back victories for the first time this year. Scotty Wilson at fullback, playing against his old club. Baildon, McGrady, Peacock and Patterson the 3-quarters. Duneman and Coleman the halves, and Coleman, of course, another player who's the captain of the side. Woods, Fallons and Campion up front. Ward and Hurst in the second row. Craig Spark is at lock forward, and John Harvey is the coach of the side. And there's Craig Spark and Craig Coleman ready for another big game against the Western Reds. Plenty of support here. The Seagulls reunion on, so the Seagulls, with plenty of the stars of yesteryear, will be here cheering on the Seagulls tonight. And here comes Brad Mackay leading out the Western Reds. Matty Fuller the second one out. And after their victory 2 weeks ago, they went to Brookvale last week and they stretched this year's reigning champions as far as 14 wins on the trot are concerned. Manly Warringah. That man, Matty Fuller, 8 tries so far this year. And the side is Devine at fullback. Ryan, Innes, Mather and Fleming the 3-quarters. Horan at 5'8", Rodwell at half, and up front Howe, Fuller and Boyd. The second rowers Geyer and Doyle. Mackay, the captain, will probably start the game at lock forward, but don't be surprised to see Jeff Doyle also packing at lock forward. The coach Peter Mulholland, and that man there has had enormous impact on the Reds so far. Craig Innes, the former All Black, and tonight don't be surprised to see him get through a lot of defensive work. And after only a couple of games in Western Reds colours in recent weeks, certainly last week, we started to see some of the attacking skills that saw Innes play for the All Blacks. Neil Almond, all the way from Newcastle, is the referee of tonight's fixture between the Gold Coast Seagulls and the Western Reds, and it's the Seagulls who are going to start the action. David Boyd in the headgear, Rodney Howe, a former Novocastrian with Boyd, as Duneman gets play underway. High down towards the Western Reds end of the park. Mark Guy was keen to get a touch of the football early on, but it was Sean Devine who took it out to the quarter line. Fuller looking for runners, and it's Howe who'll take it up strongly all night. He's certainly been one of the really strong, consistent players all season for the Reds as Boyd takes it out to the 30. The Reds through Jeff Doyle. Another one who came from Newcastle all the way to the Reds. And here's Mark Geyer. Geyer played his first game in only 8 weeks against Manly last week, survived the judiciary, and so he should have during the week on Tuesday. First kick of the evening for Rodwell down towards that quarter line. And the Gold Coast get their first touch of the football down their end of the field, and Mark Geyer down there to firstly be the first man up in defence. Doyle finishes off the tackle.
He certainly looks very keen, Mark Geyer. Chasing that kick, and a good bust. Here we go, Scotty Wilson, first touch of the ball.
Scotty Wilson across field. Good cover defence from Rodwell. Just inside the Western Reds territory. Baildon, Coleman, and taking it up this time is big Colin Ward. Eddie Fallon's the dummy half. Kevin Campion, midway half and quarter line, inside the Gold Coast territory. Coleman switches the point of the attack. Here's Durman again. Durman almost straight through. On his outside that time was Danny Peacock, who's a dummy half now. Peacock on the last tackle. The chip looks a bit deep. Devine does very well going back. And a former fullback sitting next to me, Gary Belcher, I reckon when you got the goalpost looming up trying to take one over the top of the shoulder, there's a couple of words he could say, but we couldn't say it on air.
Well, he did very well, Devine, didn't he? Kept his eye on the ball all the way. As you said, that kick through by Peacock a little bit deep, but already the Western Reds looking a bit suspect. Their right-hand side defence. The Gold Coast have busted them on 2 occasions already in the game.
So here's the Reds taking it out, 32 metres out from their own line. Fuller, Rodwell's in the dummy half. Mackay, his first touch of the football. Last tackle against the Reds. It comes away to Rodwell. He kicks again in behind the winger on the far side of the football field. Patterson getting back for it. And that bounce, an awkward bouncing ball. And good chasing from the Reds sees Patterson tackled only 15 metres out from his own line. 0-0 the scoreline after 2.5 minutes. Here's Baildon out to the quarter line. Penalty against the Reds. A little too much vigour in the tackle. Basically a tackler coming in after the tackle was affected.
Well, that late tackle here coming in on David Baildon, holding him down. Well, I think the referee, Neil Almond, there just showing that he's keen to keep that sort of play out tonight. I don't think it was too much in that.
There's not too much in it, Gary, but it is the worst type of tackle, isn't it? Just when you're relaxed, getting up to play the ball and you get hit again. David Woods, good strong run. 9 metres short of the halfway. 0-0 the scoreline, and our sideline eye. Chris Bombolus, good evening over there.
Yes, good evening, David. Conditions perfect tonight, so no excuses for either side. Conditions underfoot, solid, and just a mild breeze out here, and it's pretty cool. And it's interesting to see that the Gold Coast are starting to shift it wide early in the tackle count, and that the Reds are keeping it in tight for the first 3 or 4 tackles.
So here's the Gold Coast again. The run around Coleman, Duneman across field. Duneman running straight across field, and in the end didn't create any holes, and the Western Reds just followed him across the park, and he found the Gold Coast turf probably a little bit worse for wear. Last tackle, Coleman, the grubber kick behind the defence. Fleming's back there, and Fleming, a man who's probably preferred to play fullback than on the wing. Very successful there early in the season, as Chris Ryan runs it out from his own end of the field. 30 metres out now, the Western Reds taken up through Rodney Howe. Fuller, Boyd, Geyer in support. Geyer looked for that overhead pass. I think he thought he might have been Michael Jordan for a second.
Well, that could almost hit be one of the Mark Geyer most embarrassing moments. Yes, certainly he was looking for a runner, and the play was on.
The Gold Coast again.
Just have a look at it here. Geyer trying to pop the ball out. Comes forward out of his hands, and I don't think you'll see that happen too often with a player of his class.
Well, they come the open side. Doonham again on the wraparound. It's Coleman who cuts out one. Baildon is brought into the line, and underneath him was the big Englishman, Barry John Mather. Straight through the arms of Fallon. He did well. This is Doonham again. 30 metres out from the Western Reds line. Campion was the dummy half. Taking it up, Brendan Hurst. And he's collared in a solid tackle on the quarter line. You'll feel that in the morning. Last tackle, Duneman tries the little chip over the top. Fleming's back, so is Devine. A bad bounce, which they all go without. Rodwell gets it, knocks it on, and a scrum will go down. And the Gold Coast get a great opportunity to go on the attack. Horrid bounce for the Reds, good bounce for the Coast.
Well, he has got a very intelligent kicking game, Andrew Duneman. This little chip over the top, perfectly placed. Devine couldn't get to it on the full, and it beat everyone. Sat up too much, luckily for the Reds.
So the scrum coming out to the 10-metre line. Coleman it is who feeds it. Duneman, who put that lovely kick in, feeds it out wide. McGrady, his first touch of the football. Midfield, 12 metres out. Coleman keeps it going the same way. Duneman, across it comes to Peacock. 12 metres out. Fallons looks for a runner and taking it up strongly is the big fella Colin Ward. He's only a couple of metres out from the Western Reds line. Open side it comes again. This is Doonerman, 10 metres out. Doonerman in behind the defence. He found a runner. That's Scotty Wilson, and Scotty Wilson gets to within 12 metres of the line. Eddie Fallon's the dummy half. Again, they bring it the open side. Coleman looking for a runner, and it's Hurst who comes steaming down the centre. Only 12 metres out. Open side again. Doonerman again. Doonerman decides to go to the line. Last tackle against the Coast. Good effort so far from the Reds to hold them out. They've had to hold them out for 12 tackles so far. Up in the air it goes. Chris Ryan takes it on the full. A lot of pressure from the Coast. Taking it on the full in the end goal area means play will come out to the centre of the quarter line for the restart.
A very good take there by Chris Ryan. I think that kick could have gone a little bit wider from Craig Coleman. None of his chasers could get close enough to Ryan to put any real pressure on. Good job in the end to clean it up.
Here's the big fella, Barry John Mather, who had that great game in the World Cup final only a couple of years ago at Wembley. And then he's virtually spent almost a year on the sidelines with injury, trying to rebuild his career before going back to continue it with Wigan. Rodwell almost back to the halfway. Here's Geyer. Geyer this time gets his pass away. Barry John Mather wished he hadn't. Beautifully tackled by Peacock. Last tackle as it comes to Fleming. The grubber kick finds Wilson beautifully positioned on the quarter line. Wilson beats Fleming. He comes at Mather. Mather takes him 40 metres out from the coastline, 10 metres in from touch.
Fair enough to say Scotty Wilson up against his old club mates. He's fired up for a big one tonight. A couple of good runs already from the fullback.
The Gold Coast defeated Western Reds 20-16 in reserve grade in an astonishing finale to the game. The Reds led 16-6 with quarter of an hour to go. And then the Coast, who are leading the competition, put on 3 tries in the last quarter of an hour, one only 3 minutes from time. And would you believe Jim Grant went within centimetres of scoring a try, which would have given the Reds victory only a couple of minutes or only 30 seconds prior to the match-winning try scored by the Coast. This is the Gold Coast, 40 metres out, though, from the Western Reds line. It'll come the open side. Coleman, Doonerman, puts the kick deep inside the Western Reds territory. Fleming going back, takes it beautifully over his shoulder. Probably the most difficult thing to take in rugby league is a ball running away from you, and a great return from Fleming as he runs it 33 metres out from his own line.
Yeah, superb run there from Fleming. I'm not sure if Doonerman or Coleman are going to kick too much to his wing. Very confident under the high ball, and as we can see, he can bring it back pretty well as well.
So this is Innes showing some strength as he slipped that ball away. Chris Ryan, who's getting stronger every week, out to the halfway line. The Reds again through Rodwell. Doyle, it comes to Geyer. He showed good hands in the end. It comes to Mackay. Shut the gate. Brad Mackay will score. Brad Mackay goes in under the black dot, puts it down, and the Reds are leading 4 points to 0.
Well, some fantastic handling up the middle of the park there by the Western Reds. At one stage, it looked like the move was going to come unstuck. With this ball here from Doyle, Guy has taken that over his shoulder before he turned and offloaded, and that short pass then to Brad Mackay, sprints away, too quick there for Scott Wilson. Wilson didn't have time to turn and chase.
And here it is again. Here's Rodwell. Now Doyle's pass comes to Geyer. He has a couple of grabs at it. Devine it was who kept the movement going, and Mackay backing up. He's never far from the leather. Scotty Wilson tried, but in vain as Mackay scores the try. Brad Mackay, the skipper, scores the try that puts the Reds in front. So Chris Ryan has a pretty good record, considering that early in the season he virtually had the kicking job thrust upon him from right in front. Chris Ryan from right in front bangs it over that black dot. And so the Western Reds skip away to an early lead here at Seagulls Stadium. 10 minutes gone, and the Reds. Doonerman gets play underway again as the Reds bring it out through Mark Geyer. And Geyer, a good strong run. Look at those legs pumping up, and he slips the pass to Matty Fuller. Fuller takes it out past the 30 again. 32 metres out. You went on a kangaroo tour with Mark Guy, but I don't think you've seen him pumped up like this for a while.
Well, he certainly is pumped up, and what a difficult man to tackle, those big long legs striding out. And if there's only one tackler in and he goes low, Guy's always going to offload the ball, and that was the case there with Denny Peacock trying to take him one-on-one.
And here's Doyle. Good strong set of 6 this so far from the Reds after scoring that converted try. Rodney Howe just playing it through the forwards at the moment, the Reds. They've got a big, strong, willing forward pack. And again, they're just playing steady, mistake-free football early on. Last tackle as the little grubber kick goes in. A well-weighted kick. Into the in-goal area it will go. Getting back is Patterson. Patterson will do well to get back into the field of play. He's done an excellent job.
He's a fine player, Tim Patterson. A fortnight ago, probably the best player on the park for the Gold Coast. He's continuing that form. Very good bringing the football back. See him here. 3 or 4 Reds defenders to beat. Backs himself in for speed and forces his way over the try line.
Well, there were plenty of Reds chasers down there, but he managed to round them all up. Good performance. Eddie Fallon's dashing out a dummy half. And his tackle just outside his own quarter line, and the penalty goes against Rodney Howe. That's the second penalty he's conceded for not holding a player down in the play the ball.
Well, it's always touch and go, this play, isn't it? The coach tells you you've got to do it, you've got to slow the play down so that the rest of the line can get set. But just when to give up is the question.
There's always a fine line between penalty and allowing it to continue. As the Coast take it to 40 metres out from the Western Reds line, the Coast trying to get back into this game after they conceded that early converted try as Chris Ward gets down to the quarter line. In a dummy half as Fallons. They keep it going through David Woods, who just charges ahead. They're only 20 metres out. Make it 17 metres out. They've got a couple of tackles up their sleeve. As Fallons comes to Doonerman. It goes from Fallons back down the centre. Comes the Rick McGrady, and McGrady's almost in. He loses the ball behind him. Fallons picks it up. The referee says play on. Obviously didn't say held. And it's Fallons who's going to play the football. Last tackle against the Coast as it comes to Doonerman. The pass out wide in the end is intercepted by Fleming, and the Reds come up with possession only a couple of metres out from their own line.
Well, a great opportunity there for the Coast has gone begging. That ball out from Andrew Doonerman. I'm pretty sure that this ball was meant to miss. Yeah, Scott Wilson, that ball was meant for Denny Peacock. And they had an extra man with the winger unmarked outside.
Let's go over to the sideline again, and over there at the moment is Chris Bombolis.
An amazing game, rugby league, David. The Gold Coast seem to have all the territorial advantage at the moment, yet one clean break by the Western Reds, and they managed to come up with a converted try. Let's see what big Mark Guy can do to inspire his team to get it up the other end.
So here's Rodwell again, across the line. Jimmy Horan finds support out wide, and they've lost the football. Devine knocks it on. The scrum will go down about 9 metres inside the territory of the Western Reds and back towards centre field.
Well, here it is there, just a simple... He's had a bit of a look there, Sean Devine, thinking about the next play and not wrapping the football up first.
So 15 minutes gone in this game, and the Western Reds are leading. Jeff Doyle being spoken to by the referee. They used to say in Newcastle they didn't like Neil Almond refereeing because of the fact he tried too hard, and there's...
Well, this guy at elbow has hit Colin Ward. Well, from there it looked like might have got him flush on the chin. Ward stayed down for a few moments, pretty groggy.
I'll tell you that story in a second about Neil Almond and Jeff Doyle. Is coming straight down the centre of the Coast, take the ball to within 32 metres of the line. Open side, Doonerman. Scotty Wilson up in the line. Scott Wilson couldn't link up with Peacock, who was on his outside. Fallons taking it up. Colin Ward, certainly none the worse for wear from that knock he received. 20 metres out from the Reds line. Fallons, Doonerman. This is Coleman. A couple of dummies and across the line, McGrady. McGrady can't link up on the outside with Hurst, and he's tackled. That's the quarter line. Open side they come again. Again it's Coleman who's first receiver. Down the centre comes Spark, and Spark will play the football on the last tackle. Only 16 metres out. What can they do this time? Doonerman goes to the air. Getting back in the crossfield is Fleming. Plenty of the Gold Coast players there. Picking it up is Baildon. Baildon stretches out. It's a try, I'd reckon. I'd reckon he's got the ball and scored. Baildon's plucked it out of the air. It's a try.
Well, a fantastic piece of play there by Baildon, not to mention the kick by Doonerman, well placed. Greg Fleming seemed to have this one covered. Just have a look here. Fleming underneath it all the way, but the man who's got the... Well, he's in the best position there, Baildon. He's in the jumping position, coming forward at the ball, and he's just slid over the line.
So here it is again, Doonerman, beautifully weighted kick. Fleming, he couldn't do anything else but watch the football. He had to wait, and then Baildon did magnificent. Well, did he lose control of that football?
Well, you can't blame Neil Almond for that, because he conferred with the in-goal touch judge there, who had a very good look at the play and thought it was a try. It did look to be almost a fumble there.
I reckon he's fumbled the ball. I reckon the first time if it had landed on the line, it would have been a try, but I reckon he's fumbled the ball before it actually hit the ground. It was grounded. Let's have a look at this again. Here's Baildon, and that's Fleming trying to tackle him. And as he goes to put the ball down...
Well, no, perhaps he's got that right. I think he did. He's grounded that. He's forced it down before he lost control. That's a try, fair try.
We'll give it to him anyway, because there could have been a conjecture whether Fleming tried to reef the ball out of his hands, and it could have been a penalty try then.
Well, that's a nightmare, that position to be straight under the ball for Greg Fleming. It's the toughest place to take the football from. No chance to jump.
Brendan Hurst with the opportunity to level the scores. 19 metres out. Beautiful shot of the kick. It's going across the face of the goals, though. And so at the Seagulls Stadium, the Western Reds are still holding onto this narrow lead. The Reds are leading the Gold Coast by 6 points to 4. More, really, Gary.
No, it's very hard when you're straight up. You've got no momentum to jump, and that's why David Baildon was able to get up higher than Fleming and take the football. They're pretty good for the Gold Coast today. They've done a lot of attacking. If they hadn't been able to score soon, I guess they would have started to be frustrated. They've made plenty of breaks and put in a couple of good crossfield kicks as well.
One of the big things about the Reds this year is that they've conceded a lot of starts. But this game is one of the very few in which they've been able to score first. And a lot of those games have got away to very poor starts. I think Coach Peter Mulholland will be very pleased just to see the fact that they got away to such a good start. But obviously you've got to keep it going for 80 minutes. And now a penalty against the Reds. Offside in the last play of the ball, and so the Gold Coast get another penalty from deep inside their own territory to kick for touch and again put the Reds under pressure.
Very disappointing that for Mulholland for his side. A couple of lazy players there. Matthew Rodwell, the main offender, not able to get back into the line before he had to come forward.
That's a super kick. That's taken the ball 30 metres out from his own line to 40 metres out from the Reds line. That puts them on an attacking position for the next set of 6. Baildon. Woods coming from the blind side to the open side. He's going to play it just 30 metres out. Fallons. Again, Campion coming from the blind side to that open side. Doonerman. Across field he goes. Almost on the quarter line. Coleman calls for it on the open side. Coleman decides to go on his own. Those little legs almost going up and down in the one place. Fallons, they go the short side. Doonerman again, the grubber kick into the end goal area, and Devine in the end has to take the football because there was plenty of Gold Coast pressure there, and in the end it's a line dropout. I just don't know how the cameraman finished up over there. Was that his words I heard?
Well, nice kick, Doonerman. I think we're going to say that a few times tonight. Well placed. It looked like it may have run a little bit too... may have run dead, been a little bit too hard at first. Devine shadowed the ball, and in the end he had to take it. Look out, cameraman.
Tell you what, stayed there, never ever lost his post. Good shot of that as Patterson came steaming down on Devine. Mackay and Goldspink looks as if he's ready to come on. As the Coast bring it back now through David Woods. Big solid tackle. Midway half and quarter line. Inside the Western Reds territory. As Patterson takes it to the win. 29 metres of the Reds line. A number of runners. The Coast have got plenty of support coming forward as Campion takes it within 20 metres of the line.
They have. They've also got plenty of nice little set plays around the ruck, and they're finding big yards.
Here's Baildon again, and Baildon's gone within centimetres of scoring his second. The Gold Coast on the burst again through the big second rower, going straight as hard as Colin Ward, and Ward's only a couple of metres out. Last tackle, the Coast have it through Scotty Wilson out wide, and he couldn't take the ball. Well, Wilson was waiting for it right out here on this side of the park, but the pass just went floating over his head.
Yeah, watch this ball from Craig Coleman. Sorry, David. The long ball Wilson just couldn't even touch the ball, and Craig Coleman very disappointed after that. He knows he's blown a very good opportunity they had. I think the ball should have gone through the hands.
I think Wilson probably called for it. And both being old South Sydney teammates, I think Coleman probably just thought that Wilson was in space.
Well, the difficulty...
I think he thought he was in space because that's about where the pass went.
Well, he was when Coleman got the ball, but the problem with the sliding defence is when it's floating through the air, by the time he would have caught it, the winger was right on top of him. You've got to put the ball through the hands, the way defence is structured these days.
Boyd takes it up strongly for the Reds. Short side, Fuller. Neat little kick. It'll find touch about 3 or 4 metres out from the corner post. And this fella really has, dare I say, is the most improved hooker in the competition. I tell you what, we'd be hard-pressed to find one who isn't. He scored 8 tries, and here's just another example of another one of his bag of tricks.
Certainly a very good player. I guess the other good hooker in the comp would be Wayne Bartram, who wasn't even a hooker at the start of the year.
True.
But from what I've seen, Matthew Fuller, very accomplished and good. He sniffs out those tries very close to the try line. That's a danger area for the Gold Coast.
So Coleman bringing in the winger Baildon, who went so close to scoring his second only a few moments ago. 12 metres out from the Gold Coast line. And at the moment, it's the Western Reds leading the Seagulls by 6 points to 4. Back towards the quarter line. Spark plays it. This will be another penalty. And that's the 3rd time the Reds have conceded a penalty down this end of the park, and that really does take the pressure off the side who's trying to run it out from their own end of the field.
Well, they're piggybacking them out. Brad Mackay there just holding on to Patterson's feet, not letting him get up and play the ball, and they are making it very easy for the Coast, who surprisingly have taken the tap and not kicked the ball out.
Mackay very slowly to his feet after that tackle too, I might add, as the Coast bring it back towards the halfway line. The Reds leading 6-4. Let's go to the sideline, Chris Bombolis.
Yeah, Brett Goldspink's been warming up for quite a few minutes now. We don't know exactly who he's going to replace, but I think Peter Mulholland's looking at Rodney Howe or even Mark Guy to have a breather as we move into the last 16 minutes of the first half.
I tell you what, I've known what Peter Mulholland's done most of this year. He's probably got in mind 5 forwards, and Goldspink will warm up for 20 minutes. You're dead right about that, Chris. Often Goldspink doesn't know who he's meant to replace when he starts warming up. Brendan Hurst plays it. His second row partner, Ward, was in a dummy half. Doonerman tries the little chip and chase. Boyd getting back for it, and Boyd covers it up well and falls on it only 18 metres out.
So a Peter Mulholland ploy, David, this year. You've done all of their games. He replaces plenty of forwards, does he?
He uses Brett Goldspink a lot as a replacement coming off the bench, and he's been very good at it. The other player he's used a lot in that area played the full game of reserve grade after a time on the bench with injury as Peter Shields, and I won't be surprised to see him replace Boyd, for instance. He often replaces, the players that he more often replaces have been Boyd and Doyle, and they've often been replaced with the likes of Shields and Goldspink, but tonight he's got Tudor and Goldspink on the bench. I won't be surprised to see Doyle and Boyd be the ones he switches around.
Well, there's David Boyd going off now, and an unusual area, uncharacteristic error there from captain Brad Mackay. He's turned the ball over to the Coast.
Here's Patterson coming in after they'd won that scrum. Open side they come again. Here's the Coast taking it up down to the 30-metre line. Well, they've had nearly all the possession and all the territory so far, but they're still trailing in the most important area on the scoreboard. As Ward goes straight through, he almost popped that up as Scotty Wilson trailed him down to the line. It comes across from Fallons now. This is with the ball Coleman. Coleman brings it away to Doonerman, and Doonerman will play it only about 12 metres out. Fallon's in a dummy half. Again, Coleman is the first receiver. Here goes the big fellow again, Colin Ward. He slips the pass away. Under difficulty, the ball has continued on through the hands as they still keep it going now. Campion, is it, who's got the football? Last tackle against the Reds. Open side again. And Coleman tries the little grubber kick in behind the line. Getting back as Geyer. And Geyer in turn is beautifully ramped up by David Woods. And play will restart with the line dropout.
Well, fleet of foot there. Mark Guy has read that very well. Turned and chased. Coleman went all the way to the line. Guy, who was a couple of metres behind his teammates in the defensive line, turned and chased, and he saved a certain try.
So play to restart now with Brad Mackay on the line dropout. That's a good kick out towards the halfway line. Doonerman traps it with the foot. Get a run with Arsenal with that sort of work. Ooh, that looked a bit high.
That looked very high. Rodney Howe's the man. Have a look at this, Dave.
Well, the first impact is around the chest, admittedly, isn't it?
Well, I think maybe it slipped up off his shoulder, if anything. Let's